Well, the 0.5% VAT increase is expected to kick in on May the 1st. That's after the National Assembly passed the Fiscal Framework of Budget 2025. MicroFinance South Africa, MFSA, is warning this increase is set to hit South Africa's low-income consumers the hardest. It's warning of regressive ripple effects of the increase, from shrinking disposable incomes to jeopardising financial inclusion for vulnerable households reliant on microfinance. As essentials like transport, electricity and food become more expensive, MFSA says the strain on both consumers and microfinance providers could unravel years of progress in building a more inclusive financial ecosystem. This will potentially drive the most vulnerable towards unregulated lenders. Well, joining us now is Leonie van Pletzen, the CEO of MicroFinance South Africa. Good afternoon, Leonie. Thank you for joining us. How does an increase in VAT affect the day-to-day lives of low-income consumers?
So, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. Low-income consumers spend a large proportion of their income on VAT-inclusive goods, including transport, electricity, food and municipal services. The VAT increase drives up the cost of the essential goods and leaves them with a reduce in their disposable income, and the consumers with less money to meet loan repayments and cover emergencies. This forces the households to cut back on basic needs, seek credit to fill the gaps, and sometimes even go to the illegal market.
Well, in what ways might these costs due to the VAT increase push them to these unregulated lenders, and what are the risks associated with that?
So when the living costs rise, the consumers become riskier borrowers due to lower repayment capacity. So microfinance institutions already operating in a strict pricing gap cannot absorb this increased risk. So as a result, they are forced to tighten their lending criteria and decline more applications. This directly excludes the most vulnerable from accessing legal unregulated credit. So unfortunately, because of their capacity and they cannot pay more and they've got less disposable income, our registered and legal members would have to decline them, and that drives them to the illegal market.
Are you seeing more and more illegal lenders cropping up?
Definitely. There's definitely an increase in illegal lenders as consumers are struggling and they can't afford repayments. Also, our members has got strict affordability criteria, and we can see that the consumers are struggling, and this is driving them to the illegal market. So all of these rules and regulations and these increases is actually doing the opposite, and it's driving towards financial exclusion and not necessarily financial inclusion.
Do you believe government should consider alternative solutions to protect financial inclusion for those low-income households? And if so, what ideas would you suggest?
Yes, there's always ideas for alternative solutions for financial inclusion. And the first one would be to review the rates and fees of the registered and legal credit providers. We haven't seen an increase in 10 years, and this is just not sustainable for the legal guys anymore. And what's happening now is the consumer is paying the price because they are not getting fair access to legitimate credit, where they are now paying 3% or 5% interest from a legal credit provider. They are paying more than 50 to 100% for an illegal credit provider. So the first one for financial inclusion is review the rates and fees so that this can broaden the appetite of the microfinanciers so that we can provide the consumers with fair and legal access to credit.
And how soon are you expecting those ripple effects to hit?
So if there is a VAT increase, I would definitely see within the first 2 months that there would be a major concern for the consumers. And just remember, in the communities, the stokvels and the churches, they also assist each other if there is trouble within the communities. However, everyone will be hit hard by the VAT increase. So this will actually, their safety net will disappear. So unfortunately, in the communities, we will also see a detrimental effect.
Leonie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll definitely keep an eye on that.